You know I'm part white.
No.
Still
Okay.
no.
Half
All right.
mailman, half garbage man.
I'm Fats, the resident dumbass.
You were gonna say black guy, but we already have half of one of those.
Half is too much. I can't really, claim that one anymore.
I'm Brandon. I'm the resident black guy. Then I guess.
Yeah, that's our black guy.
JC, please declare your residency.
I'm Juice Chris. I'm the resident.
He said he's just Chris. Nice.
There you go.
You ruined his life to this degree.
Yep.
All right.
I
To
hate
start
myself.
off, I think you guys will be excited. I have gotten now to a point in Cookie Clicker where I can no longer play. I just have to wait. It'll be about 16 days with the game running, and I'll have my 300 prisms.
Oh my god. I don't know what any of that means, but I imagine that's a lot of cookies.
It is.
I'm
That
glad
is- That is a lot of cookies. How many times have you ascended, Brandon?
Let's see. I'm on my 17th ascension right now.
Okay.
It's not that bad. But this run has been going for 16 days currently, and we'll no, that's the overall. How long? No, never mind. It's been 68 days. Okay. No,
So my question is like, at what point in that game are you able to use your cookies to purchase a life?
Hey, PBat, tell us what you did this week.
I play Minecraft.
He knew to feed the joke right there. Smart man.
Oh
Thanks.
god.
I wasn't making a
Gentleman
joke.
PBat.
Bunch of bitches.
All right, I want to change things up for the start of the show too. We're not going to quite do a guided meditation. I have not cleared this with any of you, of course. We're going to do a little bit. We're going to do a prayer. All right, we're just going to open with a prayer. It's like saying grace before every episode, and we're going to rotate through who says grace. Okay, does that make sense?
Okay.
I'll start. Thank you, O Lord, baby Jesus, both baby black and white Jesus, for bringing us all here today. Thank you for Cookie Clicker, for the calories Brandon needs to keep going, the things that keep him, I guess it's like his anger calories, I suppose. If he didn't have Cookie Clicker, he probably wouldn't be as angry. Thank you for PBat's ass collection. We know he collects those. And thank you all for all the sweet new game releases we had in the past week, because they've all been really good and sucked up a lot of time and made me leave work early and not focus on the things I'm doing at work. Amen.
Amen.
Hey.
Almond.
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 Almond. That's your
Toasted
skin color.
almonds are amazing.
Nah, I like them plain, man. I actually held for a second there because I expected you to just jump down my throat about liking plain almonds. But I'm genuinely surprised.
None of us are down jumping down other guys' throats. Doesn't matter. That's you. That's not you.
Yeah, sorry, yeah, uh-huh. Alright, first things first, we want to talk about something that happened during this week. On the Legion Alpha, World of Warcraft. I know we're talking about Warcraft stuff, World of Warcraft stuff. Please don't tune out, everybody. They had testing, raid testing, for several hours during that, during a designated time. And the servers basically went to shit, which resulted in maybe 2 to 3 good pulls that were honestly like a minute's worth of time on bosses, and many of the raiding guilds were fucking furious, and it turned into what can only be described as a fucking train wreck.
Isn't that why testing is a thing? Like,
Yeah, it's like they
you have to expect that stuff sometimes.
No, not servers. I'm really fucking sick of game developers pretending that servers are something that can't be controlled during beta testing. Like, if you are ensuring that X amount of people are going to play and X amount of people are going to be online, then you need to ensure that X amount of people actually are able to connect to the fucking game.
Exactly. It's like selection-based alpha access. They know at most how many people could be on, and that's how they should budget their servers.
But it isn't like, I mean, from a business standpoint, isn't their goal to save the most amount of money as possible? So like, if they're testing for servers, they want to see like, is this load going to be enough? If they overshoot, say like they buy more than they think they're going to get, isn't that kind of defeating the purpose of like seeing?
This wasn't a stress test though. So like the Overwatch thing that we just did this
Yes.
weekend was a stress test. So when the servers went down, you couldn't complain about that because that was the point, was to see at what point the servers would go down.
Right.
They even put that
okay.
into like the opening message of like the stress this week, and they're like, oh, by the way, things could go down. They made that very clear after this particular instance.
Okay, so I was just misunderstood as to what the goal was for the
And
test. Okay.
there's I think a small difference between, okay, let's play Overwatch tonight. That should be fun. If people sign on, it's not that big of a deal. We had like 3 or 4 people. Sometimes we had 10 or 12 people playing. We do in-houses, whatever. Like, we had people online, but it wasn't like structured. When you have a raid, there must be X amount of people online focused.
Yes.
And when you're doing a piece of new content, generally the first thing you do is you look up a guide. You're like, okay, these are the moves he does. This is how much damage he does. Blah blah blah. This is how you tank it. Blah blah blah. Right. But when you're doing a fight on an alpha test for the first time, all you know is that you're gonna die. That's it. That's the only thing you know. It's a learning experience. You're writing shit down. If you had enough time for 2 polls, you have learned jack shit and have wasted an entire evening of 25
Exactly.
people.
And then they can't even give feedback in the alpha to like this, like where a mechanic feels unfair or just like undertuned or overtuned, all that.
It's also important to note, by the way, that a lot of the guilds that get access to these sorts of things are using them for their server first knowledge later on. So it's really crucial that they get this time in for learning the fights ahead of time.
Exactly.
I don't think that's really fair, but
Well,
that's
I
what it
mean,
is.
I do think it's fair because these people are dedicating their lives to this bullshit. Like, if they're already achieving X amount of server firsts, like, let's be real. How many people have actually made money off of World of Warcraft? You don't really get that much in terms of being able to compete at a higher level at WoW. Unless you're an arena player and are going to tournaments, I think there have probably been 6 guilds in the history of World of Warcraft's entire lifespan that have actually benefited from, having this knowledge early. And that would be what, like 4 of them would contain most
Yeah.
of the members of the original Insidia.
And Insidia and Method and whoever else is up there.
There was 1 guild, to my knowledge, ever that got computers. Everyone else got, like, mice.
Or just like a nice firm slap on the ass. Good job.
That was from PBat.
From PBat?
From PBat.
Hey, it wasn't really a slap on the ass. It was more of like a katana down at like a 45 degree angle.
Katana?
Damn.
Well, I sometimes like to weeb out when I'm cutting people's butts off.
Weave out. Do you,
Yeah.
man?
All right, so in this particular instance too, so it's not so much like like when you're playing on an alpha server, like you can expect things to be kind of shitty, right? But Blizzard did designate this time for the raid testing. However, about 3 hours into the testing, with like these guilds and these people, these players' inability to make like actual like polls, they did not notify the community of anything going down. It's not even like it said, hey, we're having server trouble. Hey, something fucking broke. Something we coded is just destroying the stability of the server, right? So 3 hours pass. So what did the people on the alpha do? Well, they went to the forums, and they did some fucking terrible, terrible... Oh, the fucking thread is gone. They deleted it. That's very sad.
Of course they deleted it.
I mean, it lasted a few days. I saw it yesterday. They went to the thread, the forums, and they just started shit posting. And they said some crazy things. I actually have some screenshots I'm gonna pull up and like read some of the things. Just like, well, not necessarily word for word. They're like 9/11 jokes. Just giant emoji penises made out of dongers, which is admittedly kind of funny. But like,
That's work.
yeah, that is work. Super Mario with his ass exposed.
Oh, that's
I
just.
saw that
Okay,
one,
that's
yeah.
just regular copy boss.
Yeah, I'll post the link.
Wow, you said it as if like none of those sound like brand new concepts made in order to go straight against the Blizzard regime.
Yeah.
Who ruined their raid experience. Instead, it's just hey, enjoy all these Twitch memes.
And so they maybe took it a little bit too inappropriate. Like, it wasn't even necessarily feedback, and this was on the feedback forums, right? And it just turned into a shit posting fest. And what did they do? They removed the vast majority of these people from the alpha. But not only did they remove them from this alpha, they removed them from all betas, alphas, any pre-access things that Blizzard currently has going on, and that includes Overwatch. So people are fucking pissed. But
Well, I mean, there's a few ways to look at it. First, you have the fact that alpha testing is a service. It is not a right, it is not a privilege, it is a service that people have decided they're doing for free. We are effectively doing large-scale QA for a company that can afford to pay all of us to do it. And well, let's be serious. But instead, they have taken it as we have provided these players a privilege to see our content early because we're geniuses. And to be fair, Blizzard are geniuses. The content they come up with in their games is, I think, beyond praise. It is the bar at which all other games should be judged, plain and simple. And for them to have done this and taken people who have dedicated their lives to their games and have, I guess, removed their ability to play them and have limited their access to them has kind of shown Blizzard's color of we know how good we are. We don't have to deal with your bullshit. They are now above the paying customer, and they have been for many years. Let's not be silly.
Right.
But there's nothing we can really do to return that. I mean, no amount of Reddit threads or whatever is going to get people to stop playing World of Warcraft because someone's mad that they got their alpha removed.
Yeah. So do we think Blizzard took it too far?
Whatever. It's their shit.
Yeah, they can do what they want. I mean, it's just if you're gonna be an ass, like, don't expect to. Like, there's two ways to handle things. You can be mature about it. I'm sure if somebody wrote a mature response about why they were upset, they wouldn't get their alpha access removed. It's common sense. If you act like an asshole, you're gonna get punished for it.
So
but we should be mad. We should be mad. As a community, we should be mad because yes, these kids acted like a bunch of assholes, but there were hundreds, maybe thousands of people who dedicated their entire day to play a video game, and without warning, Blizzard didn't allow them.
Exactly.
And then after things started going to shit, they didn't inform them, hey, the servers are coming back up in X amount of minutes. Hey, the servers aren't coming back up. Hey, these crashes happened. We are sorry, to delay this, but, please bear with us. There was no even an attempt at an apology, and that's something important. This is, again, not a right or a privilege. It is a service that is provided by the community. Without the information given to us, or rather given to Blizzard, they would never be able to release this game in a publicly playable way. They must do these beta tests. That's why beta tests exist. I mean, a lot of betas are pretty bullshit. That's because alpha tests exist. But in Blizzard's case, all of these stress tests and all of these different functionality tests must be done. Because if they release their game in a state that we just experienced it in as a community, with it not working completely and people wasting, tens of thousands of man hours, what are they going to do after people have paid money to play it?
Right. Exactly.
Remove our access?
Exactly. The critical misstep in my eyes that Blizzard made was just not saying anything. Like, if things are breaking, maybe 40 minutes into it, say, hey guys, you guys want to stop raiding tonight. It's just not going to happen tonight. We're sorry. That's all they need to do, right? They treat it like a service, they treat it like a business, right? And then they took it away because people were being assholes because it was a privilege. But at the same time, if they expect them to behave like contractually obligated people, then they should notify them at a reasonable time. So it was a little bit of disrespect on, a lot of disrespect on one part. A lot of disrespect both ways. I definitely think the testers took it a little bit too far.
Well, that's another one of Blizzard's issues, in my opinion. We can consider most of, Twitch chat, copy pastas, all that fucking culture. I would say 40% of it came from WoW. And what has Blizzard ever done to really put a stop to it?
Oh, nothing.
Nothing.
God,
Absolutely nothing. So then someone used it against Blizzard in probably a way that, again, they've gone overboard. They shouldn't be acting like a bunch of fucking children. But, what else are they supposed to do sitting there with their thumbs up their asses while daddy's sitting at home filling his pockets, allowing these fucking kids to help test their fucking game, right? And they're just like, Dad, I don't know what to fucking do. Fuck memes. Quick, memes everywhere.
I don't know what to do. Memes.
Yeah, that was good. It's a Smatter special.
That's a hilarious reaction to things. 'Cause actually, that's true. Right? So kids who don't know how to deal with adversity, who grew up who are younger than we are, that grew up with a lot more internet culture than we did, they just only know how to react with memes. They only know how to troll and make things that's what they do instead of providing respectful feedback, because memes and that type of big laugh is praised by the community. When
it's not funny.
It's not funny.
See, that's the problem, is what they thought on the forums they were doing. They thought it was funny. The issue is that they're just unintelligent monsters, right? They're just repeating the last 10 things they ever said to them, which is why most of the people who lost this access shouldn't be too mad, because they were never going to complete the fucking content anyway.
Damn, casual heaven.
Do you think that maybe removing the Overwatch access was a little bit much?
No.
Yes, no, that doesn't even make sense.
I mean, someone had to make that decision, right? Because we know that these early access things are enabled on a case-by-case or a game-by-game basis. So, someone had to decide. They had to be pissed enough that someone had to make a call. They had a meeting and said, fuck these guys, let's also take Overwatch from them.
Oh, was that the reason?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some people posting the thread lost everything.
I had no idea.
I think one of the bigger issues here is how do these two communities interact? Like, why would the WoW forums be punishing the Overwatch forums? These are different games. Is Blizzard saying that now if I get banned in Heroes of the Storm for AFKing in a game that I'm going to lose my WoW license? Like, will I get banned from all Blizzard games for a week? Are we starting to run their entire property? Like on Steam, if you fuck up in a Valve game badly, you could be removed from all Valve games. But like, there was a player not too long ago in CS:GO who him and his team bet against their own team and threw their game in a competitive setting, and they all got banned permanently. They're not allowed to like spectate, play, observe, blah blah blah, any Counter-Strike games at a competitive level. And I mean, Blizzard didn't say, or rather, Valve didn't say, and no fucking Left 4 Dead. Right? Like, why is Blizzard acting like we lost the entire farm now because I made a meme, a shitty meme that probably stemmed from shitty World of Warcraft? Why am I getting punished in Overwatch?
The only thing I'm familiar with that is similar is the whole Valve anti-cheat thing, where it's like if anything runs through Valve anti-cheat and you are caught like hacking or something like that on one game, you're banned from all games that run Valve anti-cheat.
Yeah, but that's hacking though. That's not posting a shitty
it's not
meme.
on the same level. Yeah,
that's not like posting a picture of a fucking donger on forums because, and then have the developers get mad because they're like, I don't have a way to control this situation because I fucked up. Blame the kids.
Exactly. I wonder also too if like because of this thread gaining some like notoriety and some coverage on things like Reddit and news sites prior like fan the flames that led to these further bans. That bad PR that caused Blizzard to react even more harshly. It's possible, I guess. We don't know for sure.
Well, I mean, a lot of that has to do with the difference between, and this is a very misused word, professionalism and politicalism. And I think a lot of people...
Those are two words.
I'm sorry? But the difference between them.
Oh, okay.
A lot of people think like, oh my God, this is so unprofessional. Like, no, sometimes it's unpolitical, but it's certainly professional to ban someone from your game for actions that you don't enjoy. It's literally their profession, thus it is a professional thing to do. People, think about like Comcast, right? Everybody hates Comcast. In fact, I hope everyone who works for Comcast gets fired. I'm sorry about your children, right?
Damn, sorry, Dad.
I don't know what to do.
I don't know, son. I don't know. We have no money. Memes.
But like, you call up Comcast and you tell the fucking guy on the phone that he's a scumbag because your internet went down, right? And then 3 minutes later, you call him a fucking scumbag. And then 5 minutes later, you say, you hope his kids die. And then 5 minutes later, you call him a scumbag again. And eventually, the guy pops and he says, "Dude, fuck you," and hangs up the phone. Right? That is not a terrible lack of professionalism to me. Because if someone's coming at your life where he says, like, "I hope your kids die," and he, like, tells you to go fuck yourself and hangs up on you, you as a customer now have the right to call up and complain about this person, and odds are they're going to get fired because they didn't keep it political. That's the thing, is the politics need to be there. And Blizzard, in my eyes, kept it definitely professional, but taking away Overwatch, right, they're removing their political aspect. They're now putting themselves in a much more negative light from a political standpoint.
I could agree with that. Yeah.
I can see that, yeah. It's more than it just being, we have a problem with how you acted because of this one issue with this game. So it's like a parent punishing a kid. Like you didn't do your homework, so now you're on punishment and you don't get to do anything. You're in your room alone. Here's some sticks. Look out the window.
Yeah. Also,
what kind of life did you have?
What the fuck?
I was gonna say,
you're grounded, Fats.
So hey. We're living.
They just take away all your video games to give you fucking sticks.
I was gonna say, like, locked in a room with just sticks isn't something that like we had. That's something that like our ancestors had. That's not us.
Hey man, I'm still living in the past.
Okay.
When I was a kid, I used to love sticks.
House? Have you seen my house?
Yeah, your house is made of sticks.
It's still in the past, man. Oh, all the slavery memorabilia around my house, dude.
So a little bit was definitely Blizzard retaliating unnecessarily harshly. I think that's a little bit of bullshit, right? Because it does blur that line of, okay, what I do in one game might affect all of them. And Blizzard, and the problem with this is Blizzard hasn't like set a standard or defined these things. They never said
the problem.
Yeah, they haven't said like, oh, if you act like a complete jackass in World of Warcraft, that you just lose access to Diablo or StarCraft and shit. Like
Honestly, I like that idea.
I do too. I just wish it was clear.
Like, I think that licenses are very important, and keeping a track of the online community is something that's going to become even more increasingly difficult as time goes on, and it's something that has been borderline impossible to do. Blizzard has found themselves in a unique situation where they can force people to not act like a bunch of fuckboys.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. Because I mean, like, if you're an
while-
asshole, if you're an asshole in one thing, you're going to be an asshole in other things. It's not
Right.
it's not a one game thing.
And while I don't entirely love the fact that they haven't set the precedent for this and they kind of did it blindsidedly and in response to people getting mad about their, a lack of communication from Blizzard, definitely there's some fault there. Obviously some fine tuning to do, but let's be serious here. None of these members or none of these people who are getting banned are fine members of society, given the fact that they're going onto fucking forums and spamming pictures of penises. Like, they're clearly a bunch of fucking assholes. And if they have to be the people who, I guess, are martyred for the better cause, I don't even fucking know these kids. You know what? Fuck them.
So you're saying you've shifted stances here?
Yes, I have. I have flip-flopped. I'll be now voting for Hillary Clinton.
No, don't!
Fuck the internet.
Brandon, no, you've switched too far!
Fuck the internet.
Oh god, I have to actually...
Flop is real.
Fucking god. I think
Sam is so hurt personally by that.
Oh,
that
God.
one thing.
I know, if Brandon can vote for Hillary, that means when I vote on Tuesday, I also have to vote for Hillary.
We all have to do it now.
But Hillary's a woman, and
She'll be the first woman president.
I mean, but Brandon's been talking to your mom, and that's how he knows that that's who she would vote for.
The cage doesn't lie.
I'm so torn. I don't know what to do.
Free your mom.
I hate women, but I also want to be politically correct. I have to vote for
I thought
a
you were
woman.
gonna say I want it to be a woman.
No.
Anyone
no.
else?
Yeah, it's totally
Nah.
cool. It's 2016, man.
I've been there.
You what?
I mean, I'm just saying,
You want?
What are you just saying?
it
Yeah,
wouldn't be
please.
that bad. I'd like it, I think.
Being a woman?
Being a woman, yeah.
Okay,
Alright.
give us give me a short reason why.
All right, so I feel like, and I'm talking pure professionalism here, okay?
Okay.
If you had like the faintest idea in your mind, say somebody was walking up to you, right? And you had the faintest idea in my mind, like, you know what? By the looks of this person, they might want to cut off my butt. Now, if the person was male, then you might think, you might feel even more threatened. If the person was female, you'd be like, all right, well, I mean, if they are gonna cut off my butt, it might not be that bad. Like, there might be some good reason for it.
I swear this bit is just so that the episode is titled for PBat. If you had
I'm
to
just-
try to get titled.
No,
That's
this-
I'm
all
just
this
saying
is.
this matter. I've given you good material so
This-
far.
no,
if I'm not
see?
in the title by this episode, I'm gonna be disappointed.
This bit has made it so that I have to go back even further into the pre-show banter and edit it closer to the start of the show to make it make sense later in the episode, you piece of shit. There's gonna be a solid 4.5 minutes of nonsense before we get to the show and the content, so people can get jokes later.
Well, if Chris can come, in his 1 in 1,000 jokes and take the title over, that'd be hot, man. So I need you to delve
Yeah.
deep into your fucking soul and say something funny.
Yeah, Chris, you're on watch, man.
The pressure.
See, that wasn't it.
Just talk about cutting people's butts off. You'll be fine.
That's no.
Christ.
So speaking of Blizzard, let's talk about Overwatch. We had
Yes.
the beta this weekend. It started off great for me, honestly, because everyone's like, "In Overwatch beta this weekend, install buttons for everyone, install the game." And I'm like, "Oh, cool!" I started installing, and one of my friends on Twitter, he's like, "Just so you know, guys, if the servers aren't up to the morning. You might not even be able to get to play. Everyone got the button." And I'm like, "That's not true. I'm playing right now." And he's like, "The servers don't open until tomorrow morning." I'm like, "Dude, I'm playing right now." And then I went and checked my email, and I had apparently had the beta for like a month.
I hate you so much. Because I can't play right now because I only had a fucking pleb weekend access.
It's pretty funny when you think about it, though. Like, come on.
God, you just you're such a piece of shit. You're like, oh man, I didn't even know I had this, man. And I just always had it.
Wait a minute, I still have access. Why don't you guys have access anymore?
No, fuck you too.
PBat. Oh my god.
Wait, I have
All
a
of
question
you.
actually, because I didn't play during this access period. Did they have ranked up?
No.
Yes.
What?
Okay.
They did?
So,
Yes.
I mean, I'm going to need a little bit more of a... I'm going to trust Brandon on this one, I guess. They did have ranked up?
You can't
might-
trust him. He might have
it
been
might
only
have
been
been-
playing ranked.
It
Well,
might have
no,
been
no.
Brandon's account.
No, someone said that you had to be level 25. So I was
Yeah,
just
you do.
assuming it was grayed out for that reason.
Okay. All right. Because I was wondering if any of you got the chance to play it. So.
No.
Oh, okay.
And the
Um,
regular matchmaking is abysmal.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's not good.
we
let's
were
talk
like
about
level
that.
3 getting matched up with level 99s.
Right. No, well, I mean, I played it a couple weeks ago, and I did run into that. Yeah, I think I was around level 23 or 24, and I was getting up. I think I got up against somebody who was level 126.
See, but
Good
that's different
God.
though, because like during regular beta, there's not a lot of people. During an open beta weekend, there should have been enough level fucking 6s for us to get a game going.
True.
Yeah.
And the worst part is like every single time we got to 50 on a team, they just fed their goddamn brains out.
It's weird too. I imagine like they definitely got some kinks to work out with the matchmaking system. There's no reason we should be matched against people who've played that much, frankly. And I know it's hard to like balance that when you've got like a party and like, oh, my one friend has had access for 6 months and he's level 2000 and I'm level 7. That like it tries to find it somewhere in the middle, but it should always kind of balance around maybe like the average skill average skill would be crazy. I don't know how it should be.
If it was average skill, there's
Yeah.
a reason I kept going against level 70s, then I'm godlike.
I mean, by skill, shut up. I meant like levels. Level's not an indication of skill. It just means you play a lot.
Yeah. And I'm godlike at level... What level did I get to? I stopped at 18.
It
I was legal.
It was about a day and a half into the beta, and I'm like, when are we going to play the other maps? And everyone's like, no, these are the only maps. And I swore up and down that there was at least 2 other maps that I had fucking played on. And everyone's like, no, you're being stupid. And then the open beta ended, went back to closed beta, and I immediately got on one of those other maps.
Yeah,
I'm
you
like,
get all the maps.
yep.
I remember watching streams of other maps. I'm like, huh, I wonder what maps I'm going to get. And I just kept getting the same 3. I believe it was just Nepal, Hanamura, and Route 66.
Yes.
Yep, that's all.
Route 66 is one of the new ones, right? I haven't actually played on that.
That's
It's
attack,
my least
defend,
favorite.
push the payload. I
Yeah.
loved it. I will tell you that I played in-houses for most of yesterday, and it was awesome. Like, we had certain restrictions where it would be 1 character per team, and then you had to talk to your team and say, listen, I'm trying to play Mei because I'm the best Mei. Please die so I can have Mei back. And it was a lot more of trying to be synergetic about our picks instead of, all right, we're going to go double Hanzo and say, fuck it, it's dragons all the time.
Yeah.
And then as soon as I queued casuals again, I'm like, they have double Bastion. This is not fun.
Yeah.
It went from like, all right, let's talk and make this happen to me still being in a queue with people, albeit not a full party, but I was still with people. It's like, how do we get in? There's 8 Bastions and 2 Torbjorn and like a Mercy. It's nothing.
So
But the game is insanely fun. That's my whole point.
On that map, though, I had some fundamental problems with it, right? So one of the things that I know Blizzard's new at payload type maps. It is a payload type map. That Valve's better at with TF2 is that like there's like further spawns for the defending team, right? So I get when you kill a defender, it should take longer for them to get back to the cart than the attacking team, obviously. But I feel like there's too much of a distance, and I think they only have that because they're trying to keep respawns low. Because everyone's respawn, I think, is 6 seconds.
Yeah.
I think that's a little bit crazy. It needs to be longer. Like whereas in TF2, like it gets longer. Depending on the
I've noticed
point.
I've noticed that as an issue with certain maps. I haven't played in so long. There's the one map with all the snow. There's the map with all the snow, and there's the map. It has like a factory.
Oh,
I know that
Winterfell?
map. Oh, stop! I get that's a World of Warcraft reference, right? I get that.
Yeah, no, it's actually a Berserk reference.
Oh, okay.
Bats?
Well, no, I don't understand then. Bats didn't even laugh, so it's not funny.
Yeah.
It wasn't funny at all. It's trying to trigger me at this point.
I think I
yeah,
succeeded.
I've noticed that being an issue on certain maps, more so than others. But I mean, it is a balancing. It's the attacking team should technically have the advantage at the beginning, and then it should the defending team should have the advantage at the end. It's kind of just the general progression of balance.
Yeah, but like, so I don't mind a long walk back with a short respawn, but the problem is not a lot of the characters have lots of mobility.
Right.
Well, I think I'm okay with that, though. I think that's inherent into the design. I mean, considering the fact that, like, if Bastion was able to get back as even nearly as fast as Widowmaker, you would never be able to break a base.
Exactly.
I said exactly that to Sam in the pre-show, too.
Some
of the characters should not have the ability to move around.
I mean, and I think that for the most part, like, the characters are balanced nicely around each other. Maybe a few small things here and there, because like everyone's countered by some other person, and they counter some other one. Some of them are skill matchups, right? Like these are all good things, but I feel like they need to stagger out the respawns or something.
Yeah, I think the respawns are too short.
It's
Plain
too
and
short.
simple.
It needs to be progressive based upon the point that's captured or something like that.
A kill should matter more than it does right now.
Yes.
It just feels like I like attack the point where like both teams are trying to capture like
King
King
of the
Hill
Hill
style.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the spawns there are okay because it's hectic and both teams are consistently trying to do it. And if you want to be a good team, you have to like kind of wait behind walls and set up for your team and try to break the back lines with your assassins so that your frontliners can get towards the base, things like that. But when it comes to payload, it's just like I killed one person and they're up in 3 seconds and I can't push this thing any farther.
Exactly. And speaking of payload too, on that on Route 66 in particular, Chris and I were talking about this before the show, that there's just too many great spots that are like untouchable for like Widowmaker and Bastion.
Really? Oh, I don't believe that.
There are a lot of corners where you just cannot get behind Bastion.
And there's a
Route
lot
66.
of teleports that Tracer has. I don't know.
Yeah.
If Tracer didn't die in literally half a second
gotta
from
hit her
his
first.
DPS, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that in a coordinated game. But then again, I haven't gotten to play a mode that allows you to play both offense and defense at
Yeah.
the same fucking time yet, except for the Nepal maps. So that's probably my biggest disappointment right now is that the casual modes only let you play offense or defense on the maps like payload and linear
Right.
capture, which I don't understand that decision. I mean, we've had class-based shooters before, and they allow you to get the run back and see who does it faster. And like I said last week, Blizzard already has a game that lets you do that. So I don't know why they made that design decision. It's very weird to me.
Yeah, it's strange. So like for example, like there's a lot of like the last point of Hanamura, for example, which I like that style more, just capture points, progressive capture points over payload, I think. Truthfully, 'cause
Right.
I don't love payload that much. On the last point, like the last couple matches we played, I was just playing Bastion, and then we just had Rob sit in front of me as Reinhardt giving me the shield, and I was just able to unload in that open room, and they couldn't really touch me, right? Because there's no
Right.
spy class.
No, I mean, I think it's just about knowing your counters.
Yeah,
when it
but
comes
Tracer
to like
could get in
actually
there.
getting, Tracer like when it comes to getting into the back line, Tracer's really good. Reaper's pretty good with his teleport, but
There's
because
no,
you can kind of
can't
teleport in.
behind me. I was literally standing outside of spawn. I think
Well,
that there needs to be some more things there in that map.
I suppose,
see, I
but
don't
you
like
also have
spawn
your
points.
invulnerability.
I don't like being able to go back and heal myself. I think that's really like lame. And it creates too much safety. Once you leave a spawn point, you should not be able to go back in.
So you think you should be locked out? It's like a one-way door.
Yes, absolutely.
In some cases, being forced to go back could be considered like an
Advantageous?
Yeah, you like weaken somebody enough that they go back, right? Because there's not a lot of health packs in that area of the map.
There are
However, Overwatch
three.
does not have ammo. That it makes more sense in TF2, or like, all right, I have to
Three?
go back and get ammo.
Yeah, there's three that I know
there's
of.
one on the bridge. There's one on the main floor. There's one under the drawbridge.
I'm talking
and
inside the
there's-
room, inside the
there's
bridge,
one
the
in
right
the
side.
gazebo.
Yeah, I didn't know there was one on the bridge, unless it was like a recently added thing, but I doubt that.
I'm just saying, like, I understand why it's there, but like also there's no ammo in Overwatch, so it's a little bit weird. In TF2, it makes more sense. Where like the attacking team could spam you with lots of stuff, get you low, and you could have to be forced to spam back, and then you run out of ammo, and then the attacking team could take that advantage and push forward. Like there isn't that much of that because of the ammo thing.
I like
Right.
reloading. I don't like ammo, and I'm glad it's not in the game.
No, I'm glad I'm actually surprised how well they balanced around that. I don't feel like it's ruining the game at all.
I think that ammo and ammunition are just like archaic mediums that we don't need to force anymore.
I still think it makes sense in games like TF2, but TF2 is then again like 10 years old, so. And also like some of the classes. I mean, the engineer, for example, like his nest, the teleporter is built into his kit, and he's got the dispenser which gives ammo, which makes it so like a mobile point that his team can hold. It
Right.
makes a little bit more sense there.
No, I agree. I like the fact that there's no ammo. I mean, I like the fact that that you have to reload. Like I remember back
Yeah.
when Paladins, you could just endlessly spray people down, which I thought was absolutely absurd. There was no break. But the fact that there's no ammo, it just makes it so that there's always action. There's always something going on. It feels, it feels really high action, and I like that.
There are some things I think should be probably taken a look at, like the turret, Torbjorn's turret should probably have some type of
Overheat.
Not auto aim.
but like no, auto aim is fine. That's what it's supposed to do.
It's instant though.
It doesn't matter. That's what it's supposed to do. You can also snipe it from really far away and kill it in one hit, or I can apply a sticky bomb to it and kill it and everyone around it. I mean, there's counterplay to it, but I would like to see it like have some type of ammo count that forces Torbjorn to sit near it and maybe like hit it once to give it more ammo. Like
TF2 has
play
that.
around the turret, because if you look at his kit, he has a turret.
Oh, that's it. That's his kit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, he drops the shields for people, the armor, and it's really good.
Yeah.
Right, but like the whole idea is that he needs to be putting himself in the front line. He should have some kind of like boots, like rocket boots, jumper, something fun. Right? He's not a fun character to play. He's a very high risk character when he's not just like sitting behind a wall. So either you're super high risk or you're bored. Right? That is the probably only point in game design that Blizzard has in this game that is just straight up bad.
I think that like they didn't give it like an ammunition thing. Because they want him to play differently, right? They want him to set up his turret and then go fight, right? He doesn't want to feel like he's stuck there, which is one of the things that you do as an engineer in TF2. You literally just sit on your nest, which I get.
Is cool though,
people
you're
like
playing
that.
around it,
and your team has to play around it too, right? But he's not the one with the teleporter, so it's a little bit different. The biggest problem I see with Torbjorn's kit is like it's not really clear when his turret's attacking you, whereas in TF2 there's like a very clear sound.
Yeah,
it's loud.
It's strange to me. I don't know if it's a turret. I don't know if it's Bastion.
Yeah. Across the board, I was talking again with Chris before the show about this. Is the sound cues need to be a little bit better. I mean, the ultimate sound cues I think are there. You know when McCree is ulting. You know when Junkrat's ulting. You know
Hanzo,
when Hanzo, like all of that. It's all very great that it broadcasts to the enemy team, right? Wonderful. It's not clear on some heroes when your shots are landing. My biggest example is Pharah. I thought I would take the Pharah because she is like gameplay-wise the closest to a soldier, and that's what I mained when I played TF2. But in TF2, when the soldier fires a rocket, you hear the rocket fire out of the barrel. You hear the whoosh of the rocket approaching, and you hear the boom of the rocket hitting something. Whereas in Overwatch, you hear it shoot out of her barrel, but you don't really hear it fly, and when it lands, its sound is a bit too soft.
I agree.
You need to be able to know. And Junkrat has the same problem. A lot of the projectile weapons don't feel like have like a sound that when you hear them coming, or like
I've died to Junkrats behind me and been like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
hit
exactly.
me. And then I see the replay and he was off on the other side of the map and like a random bomb bounced through a door and hit me. And I thought, okay, well.
Compare it to TF2, like the Demo Man's pipes, when they shoot out of his gun, you hear it boom, thump, 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 boom, boom, and you hear it. Like you feel like they have that down, right? I also want to see hit sounds. Like TF2 has. I'm only drawing TF2 comparisons because it's the best game I have to compare it to. Hit sounds is like when you're spamming around a corner, you hear like a ding, ding, or you can actually customize it to know when you're doing damage to somebody.
You do actually get those when you land headshots.
When you get headshots,
you get them when you don't land headshots as well.
Get
it's just not as
you get
apparent.
very soft sounds.
I don't hear
very
when I'm
hard
playing
to
Junkrat.
discern.
I played almost exclusively Junkrat, and I don't remember hearing like hit sounds when I'm like going around corners. Even if it's the hits, like it needs a hit sound, like it needs to be like more on hit sounds for everybody across the board. Because even tracer shots are, it sounds like a fan, like and someone like turns sideways and someone just pouring water through it.
I guess that's a good comparison.
I mean, like I'm saying, like they all like even Soldier 72's fucking assault rifle. Like you don't really hear.
My thing is Lucio. I never know when he's actually doing damage to me.
Yes, they need to work something with the sound design. It just doesn't. It's a thing we talk about when we talk about Heroes of the Storm, like when none of the abilities feel like they're actually hitting and doing damage. Like that's my problem with the game. It feels like it's a little bit underwater.
Yeah.
Overwatch is very close with the action and the speed, but it does feel underwater when it comes to like feedback.
I think the speed might be a little bit too high, actually, across the board.
I agree. It's very hard and hectic to keep track of ultimates because like it's not sure how quickly they build up. You're not sure how quickly they build up. I mean, this will get better as competitive modes roll out. We'll get better at tracking these things. But for example,
but I mean, if we have to consider what makes a game successful these days in terms of longevity, a lot of that has to do with the casual experience, which Blizzard has always been very famous for, and the viewer experience for Twitch and YouTube. And I don't think Overwatch lends itself well in either regard.
Yeah, you have to. So the thing that made TF2 competitive successful, right, in the 6v6 format is like the cooldown you worked around was the medic's uber charge. You can kind of gauge it. right? You can kind of read it when he uses it. You know about how long it takes him to build it. You know, like, based upon the number of teammates alive, how quickly he can build it. He also can build faster if teammates are more injured, right? That was the thing you worked around. And as a result, that's why you focus the medic. You try to pop his Uber so that your team can push. In Overwatch, it's kind of hard because we can hear the giant twin dragon fly through from Hanzo, and he could just go pop off and build up his Uber, or his ultimate, in almost no time. And it's not consistent because the respawn times are so quick and so fast that he's doing more damage constantly to get that recharge.
The game takes very strictly from MOBAs and from TF2. It is a clone of those two things put together. It is a marriage, a very close marriage. And what they've done is they've recognized the fact that games need progression. And the easiest way to have games to have progression is to give them ultimates. The issue is when, like you said, when you played TF2, you played around the Uber. It was one ultimate. Now we have 6 or 5. Is it 5 or 6?
What do you mean?
6.
It's 6. Okay.
6.
So you have to keep track of 6 ultimates that refill automatically. They're not on timers. They're generated through time, I think damage done, a slew of features. How are you as a player, especially a casual player, expected to keep track of 6 people's ultimates? It's just not a possibility.
Exactly. It's very fast paced for the sake of being casual, and as a result, it's a little bit crazy because Blizzard wants their casual players to be like, I'm ulting all the time, I'm killing everybody. They want that.
No. See, the average player thinks they want that. There's no way they actually want that, because when they start playing
Casual
against
player does
even
want that, though.
remotely good players, what's going to happen is those players are going to be ulting all the time and hitting it, ensuring that their base is never broken.
I see. Yeah, you're right. It definitely needs to be toned down a bit. I don't know if standardizing ult charges is like the way to go. I know they want people to be able to charge differently. For example, when Diva's out of her mech, her ult charge needs to charge faster. It just makes sense.
That's a really cool mechanic.
Yeah.
So Smite, for instance, Smite has a game mode called Siege and a game mode called Clash. And when Siege first came out, it was 5v5, and for the most part was unplayable. They changed it to 4v4 because it made the game mode much more competitive and allowed people a better understanding of the map, how to traverse it, and it actually did bridge the gap that people needed to get into Conquest, which is the main mode of the game. That's where the esports happen. And we got Clash recently, which was supposed to be a new version, a new bridge to Conquest. It's a smaller Conquest map. It's only 2 lanes, but it's still 5v5. The map is very tiny. There's no bridge happening whatsoever. The game mode is, to my knowledge at least, very rarely played. And it's way too hectic for people to take seriously. It's really fun for the casual player for like a week because, like you said, they're ulting all the time, there's nonstop action. And then they realize that the game doesn't feel like you're accomplishing anything. It's not filling a game mode necessity, and you're kind of just feeling like a casual at the end of the day.
Yeah, you're not feeling the strategic steps. Which I think Overwatch is good at, like in the non-ultimate zone, feeling that progression. Like the team, like when we were playing coordinated things like Reinhardt standing in front of me as Bastion, you being Tracer and distracting while I ult as Junkrat to get like a triple kill, like that type of thing.
That was great.
That was wonderful. I gotta find that highlight. That's the type of thing. That's where the magic's gonna happen in this game, not from just everyone popping off with a high noon that kills everybody. You know.
I think as time goes on, that's going to be more rare, but only for the
Yes.
games that are involving people who know the game well. I mean, it took me 2 days to, learn the characters' names and most of their abilities. I understand what every character can do, where the hitboxes are going to hit me, how I should try to avoid them, and where I can be on a map to stay at least somewhat safe as an assassin. As a frontliner, as a person who's supposed to be distracting, playing, Tracer or Pharah, I know that my job is to get in there and do as much damage as possible, bait around to let my frontliners get in and do damage. The issue is if I'm not playing with a team of coordinated people, most of those effects are going to be in vain. We have a very seriously based class system that is balanced around the fact that these characters need to work together, but in a casual setting where Blizzard's saying, you guys could just ultimate all the time, like you said before, it's not a way for people to have fun. And given how important it is to have such a unique class system be balanced around the fact that your team comp should be structured in a way that allows you to have multiple strengths and fewer weaknesses, it's going to be hard for you to go into casual queue, as we've seen as per the random dungeon finder and how long it takes you to get into a game, that people don't want to play fucking healers and tanks. People want to play DPS.
Exactly. There's other things I'm noticing about the game. I think, first of all, I love it. I think I'm going to like commit to it like very hard and play a lot of it because it just like scratches that itch for me.
Isn't it like, we're being very harsh, but we're nitpicking at this point. The game
Yes.
is incredible. It's balanced. It's fun. The maps are gorgeous. The polish on the game is unlike anything I've ever seen.
Yeah, I guess that's something I was going to ask, actually, because I know Smatter and Brandon, you guys said that when the game does come out, you guys are planning on basically no-lifing it. Is that still a plan?
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
yeah. We're nitpicking, right? Because we love it, right? We're thinking, like, here's the things that can take it to the next level. In its current state, do I genuinely think I can spend hours playing it? Absolutely.
Right.
We've done it.
That's
yeah,
what
we
you did.
That's all I did this
I
weekend.
played the game for the entirety of Saturday. I woke up really early and played only that. Like,
Yeah.
I
Same.
I had a bunch of my subs. We were doing in-houses. We even did draft pick. Purified and Dust joined us as well, and we were like, I've translated from being a tryhard to being like a casual about certain things. Like, I'm not super into always trying to win and all that, but man, in-houses in this game, it's like, it's a good balance of like, okay, I'm casually playing against my friends, but I still want to be able to win and beat the shit out of them. And because of the cool custom game mode choices you can do, even though it was just those 3 maps, you still had a really ridiculous game mode where you can make it really fun as a streamer as well. Like, there's a...
What other variables can you do to your custom games? I didn't touch it at all.
The one thing that we did was you can make it so you can't change character, and you get a random character every time you spawn.
Oh, I like that.
So we did that, and it is the only way I've ever played Bastion, and I hated it, but I played him. And it was really fun because at the beginning, everybody chooses a character. They make it seem like your first life. Okay, you can pick who you want. Wrong. It's randomly chosen after that. So you pick someone, and then it scrambles all the picks to different people who are playing. So say I pick May, and somebody on the other team picks, like, Bastion. We're going to switch.
That's awesome.
It's hilarious.
That's really cool.
Because then you have to think about it was really funny because, like, who are they really bad at? And it doesn't always switch to the other side.
Yeah,
Sometimes it
switch to your
just switches
team.
to someone on your team.
That's very cool.
So it's just hectic and really fun, and we played it on all the different maps, and it was a good time overall. So, I mean, from my standpoint of trying to just have fun with the game, I had my fun, but I'm still good enough to play almost every character. So, I mean, there's nothing I was going to lose in doing that.
That gives me faith that Blizzard is supporting custom games, because historically they don't, or they resist it for a while until they give in. Like,
Well, I mean,
with
that's
StarCraft
where the
and Warcraft.
community is.
Yeah.
I mean, we want to play with our friends. Matchmaking is frustrating, and I think matchmaking is important. If I want to log on and play a few games, matchmaking is the way to go. And I think that's a large reason why games like CSGO took so long to take off, is because the casual appeal is very difficult. And before matchmaking existed, you had to join random servers, people controlled them. It was a strange endeavor. Whereas Halo 2 came out in 2004 with a beautiful matchmaking system. Now, was it the greatest ever? No. I mean, sometimes you were in games that started 5v6 or even 6v8. I mean,
Yeah.
that kind of shit happened all the time. But it was a working matchmaking system that allowed players to play the game with very little work. I mean, let's be real. Setting up games is work. Annoying, boring work that takes away time from you playing the game. But customs are important because sometimes I don't want to deal with the idiots in matchmaking. I don't want to talk to people I don't know. I want to play with just my friends, do goofy things, and not have people yelling at me for breaking the meta.
Right.
So,
Agreed.
yeah, wonderful. Exactly. And that gives me faith. I have tons of faith in Blizzard on this title. I don't know what kind of bullshit they're going to throw out to fuck it up, because I think they will at some point. But I have faith. And they know better after the Diablo fiasco. All right, we could probably talk about Overwatch for another 3 hours. But I'm being very serious. But there's a few other things that happened this week, a few other games that came out or have been out that have caught some of our attention. The biggest one, namely Dark Souls 3, is finally out. We've been talking about it every week for the past couple
For the
weeks.
past like month, yeah.
As if it's been out.
I got bored in an hour.
Really?
Really?
I finally figured out why I don't like Dark Souls.
Oh, do tell.
Because I've played 1, I've played 2, I played a little bit of Bloodborne. They didn't really entice me, and everyone wants you to play them because they're so hard. The skill floor in this game, the actual floor, plain and simple. The ability to play the game is not difficult. You roll, you attack. The mechanics of the game are very, very simple. The skill ceiling in the game, right? When you think about a hard game, you got to think about the skill ceiling. StarCraft's skill ceiling is endless. Dark Souls, the skill ceiling in that game is my fucking knee.
Yeah, I've said the same thing. It's not a hard game; it's just a tedious game.
Oh my god, I played my first one. I bought the game. I played for like 4 hours, and I hated it. I struggled and I got frustrated. I didn't get it. Like nothing clicked. And I was talking about this again with Chris before the show. I had to refund it because I realized it's just not the type of game for me, even if I get everything down.
Yeah,
it's not fun.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, see, here's the thing. I guess that's just down to somebody's personal opinion on what they consider fun. I'm having fun with it. I played Dark Souls 2 to prepare for it because I'd never played it before, and I liked it. But I mean, I do agree with the fact that they're not hard games. They're just tedious games. You go to fight a boss, and chances are you won't beat it on the first time, but you learn its moves. Every time you fight it, it gets easier because you know more about it. Literally, all you do is roll away from its attacks and then attack. Roll away from its next attack and then attack. And that's what it is. That's 95% of the game for however many hours you play it. But, it's kind of fun because it's like every time you play, it's like, oh, I'm getting better. It's, am I actually going to be able to beat this boss? And it's not inherently easy. And by no means do I mean it's hard, but it's tedious. And I think I kind of enjoy, after maybe half an hour of fighting a boss, actually overcoming and then, getting stronger. And it's a very beautiful game as well. I mean, it looks gorgeous. At the very least, even if you don't enjoy the gameplay itself, you can admit that it looks gorgeous. But...
Actually, the cinematic, the opening cinematic to that game might be the best cinematic ever.
I mean,
like,
yeah, it tells a very good story. Yeah, it tells a beautiful story.
The design, the design choices put into that cinematic are incredible. They are not only the basis at which other designers should be held, like from now on, but they were so intricately involved in how the game is played without telling you anything at all. I mean, it showed you what could be some bosses.
Right.
Right. One of the things is, and this is from like an art design point, there is a group of knights or soldiers, very scarecrow-esque looking knights, very scary, but they're standing up, and you only see one of them because in the front, in like the foreground, you have like a hill, like a hillside. In the background, you have like a twilight, dark red sky, and the front knight is all you see at first because he's close to the screen. You see him and you see the horizon, and that's it. And all the knights are standing up in the background. And if you're looking at the background, you can see them, but you don't. Your eyes are drawn to the front right part of your screen where he's standing up. And then these knights, who are very similarly colored to the hillside, all stand up. And suddenly, the tips of their helmets are like reaching into the horizon, right? And you can finally see a change in the background. And the blood red sky is then overshadowed by these knights. That tells you so much about the game, how it's played, that there are always going to be more than what you're expecting. There's going to be hidden enemies everywhere, and even though they're in plain sight, you're not going to expect them. Or they start talking about the giant, who's unbelievable in design. He has this scarecrow-esque mask and this giant cleaver, and they call him the giant, and he stands up, and he's 3 times bigger than you're expecting when he's like crouched down. And then the wind hits, and the wind lights him on fire, like tinder. He just takes to flame, and it's just incredible. Right. It's amazing. And when you get into the game, after watching this amazing cinematic, you will at some point receive an ember, or this game's version of humanity, and you start to get that kindling on you as well. That little, like light of fire, that spark. It will glow throughout your body. So you are now knowing that this giant is in some way related to whatever species you might be, whether it's human or undead or whatever it is. You and this giant have something in common, which makes you think to yourself, oh shit, when I fight him, something big is going to happen. Whether I'm going to learn more about the plot or it's going to give me X, like, I'm really excited to get to that point in the game. The whole cinematic was just constantly throwing these things at you.
Yeah.
And it was beautifully designed. The art was incredible. There was no frame skips, and granted, that's probably my computer. And shout outs to me.
God, there it is.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. But I have not watched an opening cinematic that has taken me back that hard since somewhere between Final Fantasy VIII and Kingdom Hearts 1.
See, here's the thing I wanted to say though, and it's like the negative aspect of that cutscene, or all cutscenes in general, really, and all cinematics, is that there is a inevitable amount of disappointment to be had. So you were talking about the Abyss Watchers, like the Scarecrow-esque boss, the multiple of them that stand up. Yeah, the spookers. So I'm not like meaning to spoil. Everybody knows that's going to be a boss you fight in the game. That much is true. So I assume, Brandon, you never made it to that boss?
I did not. If it is a boss, I got like 2.5 hours in. I'm just like, I am bored.
Yeah. So I was playing yesterday. I was streaming yesterday, and I ended up fighting that boss. And it's cool because you can tell those bosses in the intro cinematic are going to be like a couple of the main bosses, right? I went because you have to do this whole thing to prepare. Like I said, I'm not going to spoil, but you have to do this whole quest to prepare for that boss and to access that boss. And I did it, and I went and fought that boss, and I was like, this is the boss from the cinematic. It's going to be crazy. And that was the only boss in the game I beat on my first try. And it was really disappointing.
Well,
because
two things. That's not fair.
Okay.
One, you were probably trying harder because you were so excited and your adrenaline was running high. And two, you're fucking garbage because I beat that first boss without looking at the fucking screen, dude. What the fuck?
Oh, I had so much trouble with it. I spent like maybe 40 minutes on the first boss.
Oh, you mean like the little crystal Ymir and Sonic thing?
No. The first boss, the real boss.
The dude with the spear. Oh, yeah, no, I had trouble. I had trouble with that. It was mostly when he pulled the T-Rex out of his suit, man. That's when I had a lot of trouble.
That scared me.
It was really cool.
What?
It was really, really cool.
Okay, so at half health, the first boss just like stops for a second, and this huge fucking like snake thing just pops out of him, and I mean like it like quadruples his size.
And it's so hard to read his moves.
Yeah, it's really quick. Yeah.
Because it's like I found out that like fundamentally like they're still the same type of moves as the phase 1 of that fight, but they're just harder to read, and that pissed me the fuck off.
Yeah. But I mean, like that's what I mean with cinematics is it's kind of, and I don't know if this is just the way I'm looking at it, but it's always one of those things where like you're 99% sure the gameplay is never going to live up to how cool the cinematic was, and it's kind of a letdown because you're like, that looks so cool in the cinematic, but then I fight it in game and it's like it's not even remotely nearly as cool as it was in the cinematic.
Yeah, you see the game shows it seems like, right? You say the same three, these fantastical bosses have the same 3 attacks that you roll and then strike.
I mean, I will say this though, PBat. Part of what you're experiencing is just that some bosses you're going to struggle with, and other people are going to have a lot of trouble with. Abyss Watchers is one of the hardest bosses for a lot of people, because also there's depending on how you manipulate their position, there are different ways that the later part of the first phase can go. I don't want to spoil it, but like sometimes you can get fucked pretty hard if you don't manipulate them properly. So
yeah. And another issue I personally have, and I had the same thing with Dark Souls 2 actually, and Chris, you might be able to voice in on this, is that I find nearly all the time that getting to the bosses and fighting just the regular enemies is harder than the bosses themselves.
And fuck that, where you respawn like way back to kill those enemies again just to get to the boss to try again, you don't give a shit about the enemies. That shit pisses me off.
It's very important though.
Okay, I will say this. There is, and I discovered this in Dark Souls 1, because I was having a lot of issues with Ornstein and Smo, like virtually everyone else who comes to Dark Souls for the first time, and
I almost one-shot them my first fucking try.
That's the thing, dude. I almost one-shot them too, and then it took me another like 6 hours after that. So you can get to literally every part of this game without interacting with a single fucking enemy. And I'm not kidding about that.
I've eventually started to do it, but I'm saying that it just feels like artificial inflation, like of game time.
And
it absolutely is.
It's frustrating. It's not hard. It's frustrating.
Yeah.
And it's not frustrating in the way that I want to be the guy or I want to be the Boshi, is frustrating, where it's like obviously so broken that it's trial and error until you figure the pattern out. It's just made in a way that you could skip it if you know the pattern, which is stupid. The enemies aren't difficult. They're just trying.
They're annoying.
It's bothersome because you can't just walk up and kill them like you can in other games. You have to wait for them to attack and then hit them. And that's 90% of not only Dark Souls 3, well, I haven't experienced very much of that, but I have watched other people play. But 90% of the Souls series as a whole is just wait, let them attack. Okay, now you can attack.
That's not always the case, but it is often the case. There are some great instances of like.
So you're telling me the first time you see an enemy, the first time that you see a specific enemy in any Souls game, you hit it first?
Oh, absolutely. I just go the fuck in.
You are full of
All right, well
shit.
that's not a good route. I mean,
I just roll behind him and attack him and hope that the swing misses. That's
like
the way I play the game.
Dark Souls to me seems about as close as you can get to turn-based combat without it actually being turn-based combat.
Yeah.
You know what? I really like that idea. I think if I keep that in mind, I might enjoy the games more.
Well, you're welcome, Brandon.
I'll also say that once you get a feel for the way someone attacks, you can definitely preempt that shit. And they go out of their way, especially in this game, to make bosses allow you to preempt more than in any other Souls game I've played. I haven't played Bloodborne, which is actually more preemptive than any of them. But this game goes more towards Bloodborne's combat than it does towards Dark Souls 2 and Dark Souls 1, which I think is a good thing.
Did you guys find fist weapons?
Yeah, there is a fist weapon very
Where
early
the fuck,
in the game.
Dude, I looked for it. And I didn't get one.
You're still on High Wall of Lothric, right?
I don't know. I got the Uch-Katana.
Okay. Did you get to the Undead Settlement yet?
The fuck does that mean?
It's a part
It's
of
the name of the zone. The Undead
I don't
Settlement.
know.
Creative world building.
I don't know.
It's right after the high wall.
It's like once you kill Giant Ice Motherfucker and...
Oh, I didn't fight that guy.
Okay, well, it's like maybe 10 minutes away from you if you don't suck at the boss that you have to fight.
Or if you roll past every enemy.
Should I play this game?
No.
Well, I'd say yes. I think I would enjoy. You know what, Fats? I think it's mostly your personality. I feel like there are certain games I would really enjoy you watching, and I feel or watch you playing. But I think Dark Souls is one of those games I'd really like to see you play. I think your personality would really suit.
Do I
He's gotta
just get
start from
frustrated?
I wouldn't say he's got to start from one.
I played Dark Souls 1.
As someone who's beaten Dark Souls 3, you absolutely should have beaten Dark Souls 1 first. You're gonna miss out on a lot if you haven't.
Or you're talking about lore-wise, though, right?
Lore-wise and just moments, just like experiencing the world.
Right.
Absolutely, you should.
By the
you
way,
should play.
That's one thing that this game does better than I think almost any other game I've ever played, and that's lore.
Dark Souls lore is amazing. I've watched Dark Souls lore videos and Bloodborne lore videos. Like,
I don't give a shit about Bloodborne. That
extensively.
free ass bullshit.
I get it. You're upset. That is fine.
Look, I don't want
Still
to.
very
I don't
fun.
want
All
to
I can
dive
say
head
is-
first into lore right now.
I'm just gonna talk about. I played Dark Souls 1, and to summarize the hour of Dark Souls 1 that I played, I fought the first fat dragon dude for 30 minutes of it.
Wow.
Did you try to fight him with the broken sword?
Yep.
That's
I wasn't a bitch. I was gonna fuck him up,
And
I
did you kill him?
I beat him with the broken sword.
And then you quit?
I started as what's the worst class to start as?
Deprived.
Fats.
Yeah, the crispy black dude. I was him, and I beat him with the broken sword.
Well, if
Is
you
it
want
deprived?
to play Dark Souls 3, Fats, you can actually buy a code off my CC shop on my website.
I don't need that because I already got.
Really?
Calm
Oh,
down.
Yeah,
Nice-
you can.
nice
I
little
refunded
plug,
mine, but I would
okay.
gladly spend your fake ass money to buy it. So, and that would like I just got like I'm telling you like I am incredibly impatient. That game is not for me.
No, and I can understand that. I can definitely see
I
that.
got so mad. I have never been so mad at a video game in my entire life than like the first 3 hours.
There are
I played of
weapons.
Dark Souls.
There are weapons that allow you to preempt. It's just a question of like the way that most people tend to approach these games when you first play them is you want to have like a small sword or fist weapons or something, and you want to go in and attack really fast and stuff. But the thing is, there's a system called poise where the heavier armor you wear, the less stun you take when you're swinging a weapon.
Right.
And so people who have heavy armor and have a big sword, if you try to play like that against them, you're gonna get fucked on. Hard.
May I ask one question about weapons
Sure.
before we stop? Is broken sword really that bad?
Broken sword? Yeah, it's
I
a broken
beat-
fucking
I
sword.
beat his
Yeah.
ass.
I mean, it's
And to
designed.
answer DM's question, yes, I quit right after.
It's designed so that particular fight fats is designed so that you can kill him with a broken sword if you really want to do that, and you actually get a really really fucking like late game weapon if you do.
Wait, is that the
you're,
case?
You're supposed to like run off to the side and go down like a special exit because you're not
I
supposed to
found
fight
that
him.
out after.
Yeah, until you get a different weapon. If you kill him with the broken sword, you get the demon great hammer like right out of the gate, and it's really really strong. You're not supposed to get a weapon that good until much later.
Wait,
So
how do you,
I'm
wait, in Dark Souls 1,
godlike.
how do you get that?
And
I'm
if
amazing.
you kill the asylum demon with the broken sword, like before you're supposed to, you get the weapon that he's holding.
Oh, damn. It can
Yeah.
only happen with the broken sword, though?
If you go back and then you get the other weapon and like you do the plunging attack and everything, you don't get the weapon.
Oh,
You
shit.
can still get it later from the one underneath him, but you can't. Yeah, you can't.
I'm godlike.
Damn. All right,
I got to one part with skeleton archers, and I said I'm done.
we got we gotta wrap it up with our Dark Souls conversation.
It's too spooky.
So we've come to the end of the show here, so we gotta do a hypothetical. I got one for you guys. It's a real.
Oh, okay.
It's a real
Cool.
hypothetical.
I had one prepared just in case.
Oh, you do?
I did, yeah.
Oh, well, we'll save it. Well, fucking save it, PBat.
Yeah. Okay.
Jeez.
My hypothetical comes donated by a good friend of mine, Alex. I sleep with him.
You sleep with your cat?
Your cat?
No!
This is the best confusion.
My
story
boyfriend.
Ever.
And
It's the best, honestly.
he's like, all right, if you
Your
could,
boyfriend's a cat.
it's a two-parter hypothetical. If you could have one video game turned into a movie, what would it be, and what would you have a movie turned into a video game?
I like that. You know, you know what, Sam? I'm proud of
It's
you,
parallel.
buddy.
No, be
I'm
proud of
of
my
you.
cat.
I'm gonna give you a pat on the back.
No,
I'm gonna give you a
pet my
pat on the
cat.
dick. I'm gonna
Scratch
give you
my
a pat on the
cat
dick.
behind
That's a
the
good one.
ears.
All right. Video game to movie would be Brothers.
Okay.
Did you guys play Brothers?
No,
I didn't. I know which game you're talking about.
I
though.
can't
Alright,
feel
PBat,
anything for it 'cause I don't
homework.
have a
I
brother.
watched you play it.
PBat. You gotta play Brothers this week. It's like 2 hours. I'll fucking buy it for you, but it's gonna fuck you up, fam.
Okay, and here's the thing. Should I still play it even if I know what happens? Because I know what happens.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Because
I
like,
do too, and that's what stopped
It,
me
does,
from
it doesn't
playing
matter. Yes, and trust me, like whatever you know, it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah,
I feel
haven't
like
seen it, but I've heard it. Yeah.
it's the journey, not the destination.
Okay.
And the other way around?
Old Boy, but like a new version of Old Boy with like different characters.
Ah, okay.
So the Spike Lee joint.
No, that's
Stop.
I meant like an entirely different story.
Oh.
Like I want to take from the Old Boy universe, like Mr. or Mrs. Vengeance, like have another one and have it be a game that we could play.
Okay, well I got movie to game. Shoot 'em up,
Okay.
cause it's just shooting and it's
Very nice.
mindless fun, and the movie is mindless fun.
Who's in that?
Clive Owen.
He's
Did you
good.
expect me? Did
Yeah.
you expect me to answer that?
No, I did not.
And the,
Okay, gotcha.
and the other
I
one?
love that movie. It's hilarious. And Paul Giamatti. Is it
Giamatti.
Yeah, Giamatti. He's hilarious. And game to movie? Let me get Street Fighter 5.
Fast is banned from the podcast.
Oh, come on. All right. Honestly, like, the culling, like, come on, bro.
We already have like a million. Of
We have.
those.
I was gonna say we got Battle Royale. We got Hunger Games.
The Circle.
For-
Actually, you know what? No, honestly, BlazBlue, because the story's actually really good. It's convoluted, but it's good.
I don't really know from movie to game, but for game to movie, I think I'd actually have to say pretty easily League of Legends, just because just seeing how they've been able to do these like not champion reveals, but like the cinematics that they've been doing for each
Okay.
For each champion. Like they just the one thing that I feel like Riot has always been good with. I mean, before they got rid of it all, was lore and like building
Yes.
a background and story for each character. I feel like they could do that like
Yeah.
really beautifully because they have so much deep lore. Like they have all the different regions, like Zaun and
Yeah.
and all
And
the
they've
different
redone
areas.
so much of it.
And others on.
And other Zaun, yeah. I just feel like they have a really good universe to kind of build something. Like they could do so much with that.
I agree. I like that. Also, I
Yeah.
can't believe like after 3 hours of Dark Souls talk, we didn't say Dark Souls.
I don't actually.
JC?
I'm actually like I've been playing Dark Souls the whole time because that's how much of an addict I am. I don't think Dark Souls would make a good movie. I think that the way that they present the lore is like roundabout and like the kind of direct way that you would have to present the lore for a movie would not work well for this game. I was actually going to say League of Legends, but PBat took that shit. But I know what movie that I would make into a game, and that'd be The Raid Redemption. If you haven't seen that, you should fucking watch it because that is some hardcore fucking action. Probably my favorite action movie of the last decade, easily.
You know what? From movie to game, I'll say Pixels with Adam Sandler.
There we go. This is what I was hoping you guys would say. Just fucking funny things. You guys took this hypothetical real seriously.
We're
God
all
damn it.
serious
This is
people.
proving my point from last week.
Alright, I want Batman Arkham City
All right.
as a movie, and then as a video game, I want Batman The Dark Knight Rises.
All right, I want Arkham Asylum to be a movie.
Thank you.
And then, like, once it's a movie, I want that to be the game.
So you want Street Fighter the movie, the game?
Yes.
God, awful.
Yes.
I want them to make Doom 2 with The Rock still, but like the main villain is Stone Cold Steve Austin, and they wrestle on in hell at the end.
Okay, and then once that's a movie, I want that to be the game.
And we can call it WWE 2K Hellstein.
No, it's WWD, World Wrestling Doom.
That's awful.
What I want fucking Dwarf Fortress to be a movie, so you have to fucking sit through it for fucking months, and I want Do the Right Thing to be a game because of that.
Do the right thing.
Because I want the whole game to just be a race war outside of like a pizza shop between blacks and
Are
Italians.
you Raheem?
Alright, I want to change mine to Remember the Titans. It will just be like Madden, but sometimes the black
racist.
guys and the white guys don't get along.
Oh, I'm gonna change mine to Mr. and Mrs. Smith, just so it's just always a one-on-one.
Alright, no. I want mine to be Jiggly with freaking Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez. And you have to play as the boss of these characters, and all you do is listen to them talk.
Wait, that's the movie where Angelina Jolie gets naked.
That doesn't.
No.
What movie
No,
is that?
that's Wanted.
I want Wanted to be the game.
That is a game already.
Alright, then I want it to be the movie.
I want The Notebook to be a game, because it's...
All hypothetically suck my dick,
Stop.
Oh, God.
and that could be the movie.
Oh no, I got it. I want Smash Bros to be a movie.
No.
And they take that movie and make Smash 5 after it.
Yo, shout outs to Subspace Emissary though. That was
Yo,
the game.
the
Oh,
best
yeah.
movie.
Alright, that's enough of this shit. We're already way over time. Thank you all for tuning in. Follow us on Twitter. I'm at Juice Matter. Brandon, don't follow him. Fats, Zoofats, PBat, Paperbat VG, JC at Juice Cyan. We'll be back next week. Actually, next week we will actually be at PAX. So we won't have an episode that's live. That said, we may get the chance to record something in person like we did for Smite World Championship. Put it out there, so subscribe on iTunes. Keep an eye on the SoundCloud. Whatever your favorite podcast app is, pay attention to us. It'll show up there. I promise you something. Well, if we do something, that is.
That was fun.
Yeah, that was fun. This was fun. So thank you all. Have a good night.